This is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls.
Hi, Rebels. This is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, the interview. I'm your host, Taya Diggs, and today we're talking to Hana Baba, who read us the story of Stacey Abrams. If you haven't heard that awesome episode yet, make sure you go back and listen. Hana, can you tell us more about yourself?
My name is Hana Baba, and I am a radio news journalist and podcaster.
What a cool job. Why did you decide to become a journalist?
Well, I grew up in a world where I didn't see myself anywhere. I didn't see myself in literature, and I for sure did not see myself in TV shows or movies. And it was difficult because of that. And representation is really important. You need to be able to look on a screen and see someone who looks like you. You relate to them and you feel a connection to them, right? And so for me, I knew that had to be part of what I did growing up.
Journalism is basically storytelling about the news, right? Where did your love of storytelling come from?
Well, I grew up with storytelling. I lived part of my life back home in Sudan, which is my family's country in East Africa. And there was a tradition of storytelling, just oral storytelling, sitting kids down on the ground, and the grandma or the grandpa or the mom or somebody would just tell these amazing folk tales from like the heritage of the country. And sometimes these were people who didn't read or write, but they had this amazing wealth and a treasure trove of these folk tales. And so I think that is where my love for storytelling began. A good story would keep my attention for a long time.
You read us the story of Stacey Abrams, who has done many amazing things in her life and career. What do you see as Stacey's biggest impact on the world?
Where do you start? Of course, it's the voter registration. Of course, it's getting 800,000 people registered to vote and creating this huge change in Georgia. But on another level, to like the little Black girls and the little African girls like me from a long time ago, if I looked and saw people like Stacey Abrams when I was growing up, I just wonder what could have happened.
Absolutely. A lot of people told Stacey Abrams that her dream of registering thousands of people in Georgia to vote would never happen, but she did it anyway. Have you ever been told something you wanted to do was impossible?
A lot of people told me that as a Muslim woman, as a woman who wears the scarf, the hijab, that I would never get a job in American journalism. I didn't want to hear any of that, and I didn't. And for me, it was a matter of who I am and what I can do, and not what I look like and not what I'm wearing. And sure enough, I've been able to become a journalist in the United States, and to this day, I'm taken seriously and I'm fine.
We love to give our listeners an idea of how they can do things for themselves. So, if a girl wants to become a reporter or a podcaster, how might she get started?
Yes. So one thing you can do definitely is start thinking about writing, because a lot of journalism starts with writing, English, reading. Read a lot of books. If you look out into the world, at your neighborhood, at your school, in your family, right? I bet if you just look around, you can find interesting topics and things that you would love to dig deeper into, because that's also what journalism is. Taking something and then going deeper into it and exploring it with curiosity.
That makes a lot of sense. So, if you could go back to when you were a kid and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Care less about what other people think, which is hard to say to a kid because a lot of kids are at that specific age of actually caring what their friends think of them, what they look like, what they say, what they don't say. The people who really care about you, those are the people whose opinion should matter. Not everybody else on the internet, not everybody else on TikTok or wherever kids are nowadays.
Okay, last question. What makes you a rebel girl?
Oh, I am a rebel girl because I come from a culture where everybody is expected to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And that's it, pretty much. And this, I think, goes for a lot of immigrant families. But I think I'm a rebel girl in that way, that I kind of broke out of those expectations career-wise. And I went into journalism, which is not common among the people from where I come from and where my family comes from. And I've been able to teach them and for them to see through me how important journalism is. And so that's what makes me a rebel girl.
Thank you, Hana. And thank you for listening. If you like the show, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and share it with all of your friends. Catch you next time. Stay rebel!